To the Absolute Life Show. I'm Dr. Troy. This is our Ask the Expert segment. This is where you viewers have emailed me questions, and I'm going to respond to some of those today. So first question comes from Daniel. He says, our son has asthma. We've changed a lot of the foods that he eats to a more natural food. Can you give us some suggestions on food or other things that can contribute or trigger his asthma? Well, Daniel, first of all, number one is I would recommend eliminating all dairy, any sugar, no matter what, any type of sugar, even fruit from his diet for a while. And then also any grains, I would eliminate that. One of the key things we talk about is eliminating any food that man has made. So if man's altered it or changed it, it's going to potentially trigger asthma and other health issues too. It's not just asthma. One of the other key ingredients here is the nerve supply. And you have to understand that God put the most amazing healing power in your body called the brain and the nerve system. And I'm going to show you here by using this chart. And you can see that God put this intelligence, we call it innate intelligence. If that intelligence is allowed to run freely through the nerves, the cells will be healthy, whether it's in the lungs, whether it's in the kidneys, whether it's muscles in your neck or whatever. But if that interference isn't there, the cell will respond with a healthy response. Now, if there's an interference, which is known in our community as subluxation, where the segments of the spine will shift out of alignment, they start blocking that power that God put in their body, then you start seeing damage being done here. You create an imbalanced state. It also leads to dysfunction and all sorts of problems, not just asthma and allergies, but other malfunctions in the body. So when there's disturbance like you're seeing here, this clearly needs to be checked. And a traditional medical approach would never address this. So that's the first thing we want to do, is eliminating any of the bad chemicals, any of the toxins, and address the nerve system. Let's go to question number 2 here. Dr. Troy, I've heard that chiropractors can help with bedwetting. What would you suggest for our 14-year-old daughter? Michael, this is a huge issue. I've seen this occur a lot in children. But I could never imagine having a 14-year-old daughter experience, this situation. The main thing that we can offer, I had a patient the other day said, my legs are going numb. What can you do for my legs going numb? Well, ultimately, we're going to go back and we're going to look at the nerve system. So if we look up here at this poster, we can see this is a nerve system that's functioning normally and properly. If you look down here, the red areas, the blue, the greens, those show where there's stress and disturbance in the nerves. And especially down through here, the nerves that come off here go to the bladder, go to the digestive organs, go to the kidneys. And if that's interfered with, it will cause malfunction in organs. The other thing is taking a specific x-ray. You can see we have a nice cervical curve here. This is called the arc of life, or arc of vita. So when we lose that arc at 45 degrees, just like in this case, this is a -13. And we see children now, and when I say children, I mean anybody under 18, we see their spines are worse now than we've ever seen in the last 15 years. So a thorough evaluation of the spine and nerve system is in order to see, are the organs working properly? The next question is, this one comes from a lady that had been suffering severely. Vicky emailed and said, can you help with my migraines and my headaches? I've been taking 16 to 20 Advil a day. I was recently in the ER because of the medication. It was shutting down my organs. And the doctors never gave me any other suggestions other than alleviating my problem with painkillers. So one thing I want you to understand, those of you who are listening today, is that this is a common situation where people think that it's normal to have a headache every day, that it's normal to take Advil and Tylenol every day. And how could you imagine taking 16 to 20 pills a day for 16 years and never have your headaches go away? The first line of defense, and clearly this lady was told, never see a chiropractor. This is something else that she'd asked me, never see a chiropractor. The migraines you have, the headaches you have will never be able to be helped with a chiropractor. And I'm here to tell you that with her emailing us and through the work we've done, after working on her just twice, Twice, her migraine stopped after 16 years and almost nearly dying because of what was happening from the medication. After two visits to a chiropractor who removed that interference to God's healing power, her body was able to come back. It's been over 2 years. She's off all the medications. She rarely ever has a headache. And for 16 years, she had these daily. It literally ruined her life, her family's life. So clearly, checking the nerve system is essential to seeing if we can help with migraines. Fourth is an email I got from a gentleman. He said, I saw on ABC News, I saw that you might be able to help with blood pressure. I heard chiropractors can actually lower blood pressure without the use of medication. And in fact, I want to address this. Recently, a Chicago-based study done, they published this on WebMD. They said that chiropractic adjustments, specifically for the first bone in the neck, lower the blood pressure better than 2 medications combined. On average, it dropped the blood pressure 14 points. Recently, we had a gentleman who he'd actually headbutted somebody, was in the ER room because his blood pressure shot up over 200. And all the medication, everything that they did to him didn't lower his blood pressure. And he'd actually heard through one of our patients that specific adjustments to the upper neck could actually lower blood pressure. And in fact, within 2 visits of having that pressure taking off the brainstem here, his blood pressure dropped back to normal. Recently, we had a gentleman named Wayne. His blood pressure was 50 points higher than normal. It had taken him about 3 weeks. His blood pressure went back to normal. So clearly, how the body functions and heals is directly related to the nerve system. The next question I have, this is the 5th question. My child has chronic ear infections. What can you do to help? This is a common thing that we see with many children, is that the traditional approach is to take them in and have antibiotics for ear infections. And in fact, recent medical journals, New England Journal of Medicine, said you should never give antibiotics for an ear infection because most of them are viral. You should let it clear. Most people think that ear infections are an emergency situation. Dr. Mendelsohn, who wrote a book, How to Raise Healthy Kids in Spite of Your Medical Doctor, said one thing that really stuck out when I read his book. He says, any disturbance to the upper neck area here can interfere with the nerves that